Welcome my friends, Michelle here. I have a wonderful video for you today, a collection of works of Christmas wreaths. This will help you get into the mood to start crafting for Christmas and give you several different ideas of what you can do. Let's go ahead and get started. I have several Christmas wreaths to share with you today. To get started on today's project, you're going to need an 18-inch wreath form. The reason why I've chosen an 18-inch wreath form is because of the size of the sign, which is rather large. You're also going to need 8 rolls of Dollar Tree's red deco mesh and a package of pipe cleaners. You want to cut your mesh into strips at 30 inches. Each roll should give you 6 pieces of mesh at 30 inches. And you need 8 rolls of mesh to complete the base. Now I have just a little bit of mesh left on the roll, not enough to get another cut, but a little piece. Now we're going to be doing nice large bundles, so I'm going to be attaching it a little bit differently than I normally do. So to attach our bundles onto our wreath, we're going to be putting 6 bundles in between each crossbar. So we'll put 3 that are attached to the middle bar and the outer bar, and 3 that are attached to the middle bar and the inner bar. And we're going to just alternate. So 1 on the outer, 1 on the inner, 1 on the outer, 1 on the inner, 1 on the outer, until I get 6 inside. And I'm going to attach my pipe cleaner first. So we're going to start here on the outside. Just wrap your pipe cleaner around, give a good twist or two. And we're going to be doing the cruffle method. And I wanted to do nice large bundles on this because, one, I don't want to do too many bundles, so this I only have to do 6 per section. And I wanted it to be a really nice wide base, so that's why I chose the cruffle method. You start at one end and you do a good curl, and because this is Dollar Tree mesh, I'm going to do 4 curls so I don't have any chance of getting any frayed ends. Turn it around, go back to the other end and do the same thing. Give 4 good curls. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then pinch in the center and scrunch right up till you get to the other side. Okay, then you want to take your bundle, place it right in between your pipe cleaners, and give a good couple twists. Make sure you get that nice and snug. You want to pull your pipe cleaners together, do a little trim. I always leave just about a 1/2 inch. Then you take those ends and you push them down so they're facing the back. Now, sometimes on Dollar Tree mesh it gets a little bit of fraying coming from the side. If you see that, just trim it off. Once you trim it off, you're not going to have any problems. Okay, so my next bundle is going to go on the bar on the inside and the middle bar. And then as you're placing your bundles, you really want your bundles to be wide on the side. You don't really want them going this way. If you have them going side to side like this, you're going to get a much thicker coverage and a fuller base. And just slide your bundle over. Okay. And I'm alternating, so the next one is going to go on the inner ring and the outer ring. Okay, and you just keep alternating until you get 6 bundles in each section. I'm going to work on the base. I'm going to get a couple sections done, and then I'm going to come back and show you what it's looking like. I have 3 sections of my wreath done, and I'm very pleased with the results so far. And it is taking 1 roll per section, and I am getting the 6 cuts that I need. But I'm very happy. It's nice, thick, and full, very little to no fraying. And here on the back you can see in each section I've been placing 6 bundles, 3 on the outside, 3 on the inside. I have completed my base and I'm very happy with my result. I have a nice, wide, thick base. And as you can see, you get very little to no fraying. I absolutely love this base. Now this is a sign that I found at Walmart that we're going to be using today on our wreath. I ate cookies, need coffee. So to prepare this here on the back, on the bottom, because the wood is nice and thick, I stapled 2 pipe cleaners and then put glue over them. And then here at the top where the hanger is, I attached another pipe cleaner. And that's what I'm going to use to attach it here to my wreath. You just want to take your pipe cleaners, once you have your positioning, you feed it through the deco mesh and you attach your pipe cleaners to the wreath form in the back. I have my sign on, it's nice and sturdy, it's not going to go anywhere. And now I'm going to add the rest of my decor. And I have 1 package of these very large green ball ornaments. I did pick them up from Dollar Tree. You get 5 in a package, and this one comes with soft, shiny, and glittery. So I pulled 1 out of each. Shiny, soft, and glittery in that size. And I've added a pipe cleaner at the bottom. That's how I'm going to be attaching them. And then I also had some smaller ones. I have some glitter and some soft in the green, and then I have a little bit smaller in the soft red. And I've strung 3 together. So I have 2 of those, and I have enough here to make a 3rd one. So where you would hang it, you just string your pipe cleaner through. So I do 1 green one, 1 red one, and then the other green one. So I have all 3 strung together. I just find the center and pull them all down. Pinch and give a twist. Now if the attachment here is loose that holds on the ornament, you're going to want to hot glue that because you don't want them falling off. So I have 3 that has 3 of the smallers, and then I have 3 that have the larger. Now I do have 2 additional larger ones if I need them. And then to attach these, you just want to play with your placement, find out where you want to place them. And then you take your pipe cleaners, you separate your mesh till you can get down to that wire frame, and you attach them to the wire frame. Kind of adjust how they lay. Once you find their positioning and you're happy, tie them down. Trim and tuck your pipe cleaners. I have all my Christmas balls attached. I'm happy with their placement. Now there's one more thing I want to add. I pulled out this really pretty red and white striped ribbon. I did get this from Walmart. It was $4.99. This is 2 inches at 30 feet. And this really also reminds me of Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss always uses really bright, bold colors. So that's why I went with that solid red with the green. And now I'm going to add a little bit of the red and white. I'm just going to make 4 or 5 small little basic bows like this and feed them in. And to do that, you want to cut a piece of ribbon at 18 inches. Find the center, then you scrunch right in the center. Now I don't want my tails to be very long, so come down only about 3 inches for the tail, scrunch there again and add that to the center. Do the same thing to the other side. Go down about 3 inches from the end and then pull that into the center. And you should have it so that your tails are facing the same way. Okay, that's going to be the front of your bow. Then just wrap right around the center with the pipe cleaner. Get that nice and snug. I always pull it forward so I can pinch and twist. Okay. So just a basic little bow. And here you go, we are all done. I am so pleased with the end result. I love this ribbon on this wreath. It really sets off my Grinch. For our next wreath, I'm going to be using this wood round that I picked up at Dollar Tree. I thought this was very pretty. Now, if you can't find one of these in your store, that's okay. You can also use one of these. And they are calling these a wooden wreath base, and these are 12 inches. You can also use one of these. This one is a little bit thicker, so that's why I've decided I want to use this one. It is also a little bit smaller. Now I'm going to take all this off. I will save this so I can use it in another project. And I'm not worried that there's a staple there because we are going to be covering the base. I'm also going to remove this hanger because I think it's going to get in the way. Now you're going to need a really pretty ribbon. Now you can choose any Christmas ribbon that you want. I thought about this. I was thinking about a plaid, and then I decided on going with just a solid red. Now this ribbon is really pretty. It has a diamond shaped pattern that is very pretty. I don't think my camera can pick it up. Let's see. Not really, but it does have some beautiful design on it. And here on the other side you can see the little glittered stripes that they use to stitch in the pattern. Now I want to cover my base with my red, so I'm going to start at one area here and just kind of glue it down and then wrap my base. You want to use glue whenever you need to tack it down because you want to make sure you get a nice smooth wrap. So I have it glued down here in the back, and now I'm just going to slowly wrap it, and I'm going to do the best that I can to try to get the smoothest wrap. So you do want to overlap just a little bit as you go. I have my ring completely covered and I'm very happy. And I glued it down nicely here in the back. You're also going to need some berries. And I picked this big beautiful stem up at Walmart. And I always try to buy these at the end of the year when everything is really drastically reduced. But you can use any of the red berries. Dollar Tree also sells the little red berries in a bag. And then I thought this was really pretty. This is Bloom Room. And I can't remember, does that come from Michael's or Joann's? It's one or the other. I thought this was really pretty. I liked the flocked and a little bit of the white berries. And then I also pulled this out, and this is again by Bloom. Both of these I bought at the end of the year. And I liked this one because it has so many different types of greenery in it. So this one stem will be sufficient to do my greenery, except I wanted a little bit of flocked in there and then some red berries. So to get these prepped, you can either remove the paper to take out the individual picks, because these are each individual pieces that have all been wrapped together. Let's see if I can easily get. So when you take them out, they'll have their own little stem. So I need 2 of the berries here. Pull off the 2 bottom ones. And then these I can use on another project. And then with this one, because this is all the same pieces, I'm just going to kind of separate these stems. And I'm not going to use any of the white berries because I'm using the red, but I do want a few stems here of the flocked. Now on this, everything is really well attached. It's not just wrapped in paper. So on this one, I'm going to have to trim whatever pieces that I want because I'm not going to be able to get this area apart. I have all my pieces cut, and out of the bunch of greenery, I cut this one piece. It has 3 different kinds of greenery, and then I took one of these for each side. And then I cut the berry stem down a little bit more, so I have 2 smaller pieces. And I cut 2 pieces, but I think I'm only going to need 1 of the flocked. So we're going to start to attach these. And I'm just going to be attaching them up here at the top with hot glue. And I cut the same pieces for both sides. And you want to leave a little bit of space. We're going to be putting a nice big bow right at the top. Now before I put on my bow and glue in the last bits of my berries, I've been kind of looking at this. I think it needs still a little bit more of the flocked. So I'm going to add 1 more piece on either side, but I'm going to do it underneath here. And I'm gluing it just right to the wreath form. I like that much better. And now I made a basic 2-loop bow out of the same material that I wrapped the base with, and I used a full-length pipe cleaner so I'd have plenty of pipe cleaner to attach it. And I'm just going to tie it on here to my wreath. Okay, and then I'm going to use these to make a loop so that I can hang my wreath. So I'll just put 2 fingers in there, and then I'm going to twist the ends again a couple times. And then I'm going to take one of the short pieces and wrap it around the loop. Have one piece go down one side, have the other piece go down the other side, and just wrap it so it's nice and secure. And then you have a nice loop to hang your wreath. And now you can adjust your bow and trim your tails. And there you go, we're all done. I got my bow on, and I added the 2 smaller pieces of berries just kind of tucked in behind so it peeks out. Trimmed my tails, and now I'm very happy. I think that is absolutely beautiful and quite stunning. For today's project, you'll need a 14-inch wire wreath form that you can pick up from Dollar Tree, some chenille stems cut in half, 2 rolls of white deco mesh from Dollar Tree. This comes out of their floral garden section. Each roll is 6 inches at 5 yards. You will also need 2 rolls of the Poly Pro mesh ribbon. This is 5.5 inches at 30 feet. And this is the jute colored mesh with the little white pom-pom strips. This did come out of the Christmas section, and I did pick it up when it was on sale. If you can't find it in the Christmas section when it's on sale, wait till their regular mesh goes on sale, and then you'll be able to find the same thing over in their regular mesh. I unwrapped my mesh, and I have 3 of the rolls layered here. So I have the 2 jute colors and 1 roll of white. This just makes it much faster to cut all the pieces. Cut all 4 rolls of your mesh at 6 inches. I prefer to use a rotary cutter when I cut my mesh. It tends to give me a very nice clean cut, but if all you have is a good pair of scissors, you can of course use that. This rotary cutter I did pick up from Dollar Tree, and they usually last me a good 6 to 8 months before I have to replace them. On today's wreath, we're going to be doing the curl method, and we're going to be putting 3 pieces in each bundle. And I'm going to just be putting the white in the center. So just start on one side, and you want to do a nice large round roll. It should roll over by about 3 times. And then wherever your seam is, you want that to go on the bottom. Okay, so 1 neutral, 1 white, and 1 neutral. Half a pipe cleaner. Now if you have good hands, of course you can hold these in your hand. You don't have to use a bow maker. You can also use one of the pink clips that you can pick up from Dollar Tree, whatever works best for you. I have arthritis in my hands, so bow makers are a wonderful thing for me. I'll show you again. Now to attach our bundles onto our wreath, we're going to be attaching them to the 2 bars here in the center. And between each section, and each section is between the crossbars, you're going to put about 10 bundles. The amount of mesh that we're using today should give you enough to do 10 bundles per section. If you run a little short and you're only able to do, say, 8 or 9 bundles per section, that should be enough to sufficiently cover the base. As you can see, I've completed 1 section here, and that is 10 bundles in that section, and you can see that is very thick and full. So on a section or 2, if you tend to run a little short, that's okay. It's still going to give you a very nice thick base. And I really like that textured look that the curl method provides. Take your bundle there and put your pipe cleaners on either side of the 2 bars in the center. Pull nice and snug and give a twist or 2. Then I always pull my pipe cleaners together and I push them forward. This helps to keep the back of my wreath looking nice and clean. Then I just push that bundle over and continue to add my bundles until I get 10 per section. But as you can see here, by pushing my pipe cleaners forward, it helps keep the back looking nice and clean, and then that way you don't have any sharp edges on the back of your wreath. I have my base completed and I'm very happy with the result. I love that little bit of extra white in the base. Now if you have any kind of fraying or anything that's sticking out, this is the time you want to go in there and clean that up. You can see here on the back I attached everything to the 2 bars in the center, and I did get exactly 10 bundles per section. I really like the curl method. It gives such a beautifully textured base. This is the sign we're going to be using on our wreath today. I found it at Dollar Tree. Now they do have 2 different ones to choose from. I really liked this one. It says Candy Cane Lane, and I like the candies in the back along with the gingerbread. The other one had the same truck in Santa. It had a different saying on the bottom, and in the back was, I believe, Christmas trees and presents, if I remember correctly. You can use either one. You just want to adjust your other decor on the wreath to match whatever's in the back of the truck. But I really like this, and I love the way they did the arrow. I like that little bit of trim. Now it's just together here on the back with a ribbon and some staples. So I'm going to remove that. I want to attach these separately. I'm going to be attaching 2 pipe cleaners to each piece. And to attach these, I'm just going to use some hot glue and a little bit of ribbon to help secure it. So I lay down a good dab of hot glue and put my pipe cleaner in. Add a little bit more hot glue on top. And put a piece of ribbon over. You want to do that to all 4, and you want to let that glue fully set up before you attach it to your wreath. The glue is fully set up. My pipe cleaners are nice and secure. They're not going to come off. So I am ready to get these onto my wreath form. I think I want to put my truck here with Santa right in the middle and the candy cane lane down below. Maybe bring him down just a little bit. This area is the largest opening. I want to put the bow right here. I have short tails that kind of come over on either side. And then I have a few other elements to fill in. But I really like that, so I'm going to get these attached. And how you do that is you just take your pipe cleaners. Once you find your placement, you move the deco mesh aside until you can get down to the wire frame, and then you attach it to the wire frame. My sign is nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere, and it's sitting right up on top of the mesh. Once you have it secure, you want to make sure that you trim and tuck your pipe cleaners so that you don't have any sharp edges on the back of your wreath. We're going to work on the bow now. You're going to need a couple full-length pipe cleaners. I pulled out 3 different ribbons here. I have this really pretty 1.5 inch glittered ribbon. I did pick this up from craftoutlet.com. This is one of my favorite ribbons, and it is made by Expressions. It's very glittered, but it's a soft glitter. I love it. It looks like snow. And then this one, which is a candy cane ribbon. This is 2 inches at 30 feet. This one I picked up at Walmart. And then I also have this one, which is red and white. I love the ho ho ho. And this is 1.5 inches at 50 yards, and I got this one at Costco. But any mixture of red and white ribbon will work. I'm going to start with the 2-inch ribbon. Now I don't want my tails too long on this one, so I'm only going to measure them to start at 6 inches. So you want to pinch and twist as you come through. On your tails, the nice side of your ribbon should be facing up, but as you come through, you want to twist so that the nice side is facing down when you go to make your loops. And with this ribbon, I'm going to do 3 loops on either side at 5 inches. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials I used to complete today's project. This list will not only tell you how much you're going to need, it'll also let you know where I purchased the materials. Now I'm going to go to my beautiful white ribbon. Again, I'm going to measure my tails at 6 inches, pinch and twist. And with this ribbon, I'm going to measure my loops at 4 inches. And again, I'm going to do 3 loops on either side at 4 inches. And now on to our ho 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 ribbon. Again, I'm going to measure my tails at 6 inches, pinch and twist. And with this ribbon, I'm going to do 2 loops on either side at 4 inches. Okay, now I want to do one more loop here for my center loop. And again, I'm going to measure that at 4 inches. Okay, and then to get back to the other side, I'm going to come through the small dowel rod and the large dowel rod here in the front. That allows me to hold that little piece that I need on this side. Then I can measure out my tail. Take a full length pipe cleaner, go underneath all of your ribbon, run it down until you get right next to your dowel rods. Want to lift that up, bring it together. And then I always like to push my ribbon all the way down so I can get it nice and snug. This will help me keep it properly stacked as I lift it out. Okay. We need to make sure that one little piece is on the correct side. Pull your pipe cleaners nice and tight and wrap it around to the back. And give a couple good twists. Now these pipe cleaners aren't going to be long enough for me to put it on my wreath, so I'm going to put another pipe cleaner in the center. Then give a twist or two. Okay. Then take one of the short pipe cleaners and wrap it around one of the long, and then do the same thing to the other side. This way it's nice and securely attached and you have plenty of pipe cleaner to get it onto your wreath. Okay. I always like to hold mine right in the center. This is my center loop here. So just work on opening and separating all of your loops and pulling down your tails. And if you need to do any adjusting, go right down to where it's tied and that's where you need to do any twisting or opening to get it to lay the way that you want. This is what your bow should approximately look like. I always do my final adjusting once I get it onto my wreath. That way I can decide just how long I want to keep my tails and exactly where I'd like to position them. So I want to place my bow up here, and this is why I didn't want my tails to be too long, because I don't want it to cover up my sign. And I actually want it pretty high on my wreath, kind of right here in the area. And to attach that again, you just move your mesh aside until you can get down to that wire frame, and you attach it to the wire frame. Just make sure to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners once you have it fully secured. I have my bow attached and adjusted. I did go through and I pretty much left all of the tails the same length, but I did dovetail them all, and then I kind of spread them out. I think that looks really pretty. Now there are two more embellishments that I'm going to add to the wreath. So I picked up this package of really cute gingerbread ornaments from Amazon, and you get 12 in this pack, and they're made of like a rubber or plastic, but they are very well done. They already come with a little hanger at the top here, and they have several different ones to choose from. Some are lighter and some are darker. And when I went through, I did find two that actually match this guy pretty well. So I have a little boy and a little girl. They have that same kind of candy swirl that this guy in the back of the truck has, so that's why I chose them. And I've already added a piece of floral wire here to the top where they have their hanger. That's what I'm going to use to attach them. And then I'll also use some hot glue to make sure that I get the positioning correct. But if this wreath goes outside, the hot glue may fail. So that's why I'm going to also wire them on. That way it's not going to fall off no matter what happens with the weather. But I want to put one here on either side of my candy cane lane. I think that's really adorable, kind of help make that sign stand out a little bit more. And then I also picked up this package of ornaments from Hobby Lobby. And these are, let's see, you get 12 pieces. They were regularly $14.99. I did get them for 50% off. And I think they're absolutely gorgeous. They are also shatterproof. But look at how cute they are. And I love the swirls of like the peppermint candies here in the back. So I'm also going to be adding some of these, and again here where you would hang them as an ornament, first you want to test them and make sure that they're on there good so they don't fall off. And then add a piece of floral wire and do the same thing. Use the floral wire to attach it to the wreath. Once you have that done, you also want to try to nestle this part when you have an ornament that's like this into the mesh so you don't really see it. Once you get it wired on, you can always use hot glue to kind of change the position and hold it there. This way again, if the hot glue fails, it's not going to fall off the wreath. And these I'm just going to work in all the way around my wreath wherever I feel they need to go. I'm going to get my final embellishments in, and then I'll be back and show you the finished product. And there you go. I have all my embellishments on, and I'm very pleased with the end result. When I saw this sign at Dollar Tree, it completely inspired me, and I knew it would make an absolutely adorable Christmas wreath. For this project, you're going to need one of the wood blend wreaths. This is the larger one. It is 12 inches in diameter. If you can't find one of these in your stores, you can also use one of the floral foam green wreaths. This is only 9.5 inches, so this is a little bit smaller. But today we're going to be using this one. You will need a total of 8 poinsettia picks. Now you can do half and half like I'm doing, or you can do all white or all red. That's up to you. Now while my glue skillet is heating up, I'm going to get my picks prepped to go on. They're all going to be laying down like this, so you want to take everything and face it up. Move your leaves and everything so they're all kind of facing up in the same direction. Same thing with your flowers. Go down to where the head is and slightly bend that up so it is facing up and not straight forward. And as you mix these up, the greenery is the same whether you picked the red poinsettia or the white. So you just want to mix them up. You don't want to pull the same greenery to the same side. Same thing with the red berries. Just kind of switch it up a little bit as to which side that you're pulling them to so that it looks mixed up in the wreath. Okay, so I like that. Everything's kind of facing forward, and then I want to shorten my pick here. I'm going to leave a good inch, inch and a half. I just use my wire cutters. I pinch, turn, pinch till I get all of the plastic cut. Once that's done, if you just grab it and bend it, it should just snap right off. So you want to do that to each of your picks so that they are ready to go onto the wreath. I have all my picks prepared and ready to go, facing everything up and shortened. My glue is hot enough I can start using it. And I'm just going to alternate between the white and the red. So just dip your end in your glue, or you can add glue to it with your hot glue gun. And then you just want to place it far enough away that the tip meets the next one. And just work your way around and evenly space your picks. We're going to go back in and fill in with a little bit more greenery once we get these in. I have all 8 of my poinsettia picks in. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is take some of the floral wire. I'm using silver that I pick up from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to wire down some of the parts because right now the only thing that is attached is the base of the stem. So I'm just going to cut, about, 8 inches. And then near the top of each of the picks here where the second bloom is, just going to kind of move things to the side, and then I want to wire this down. Trim it, and then you want to take those ends and tuck them down into your wreath form. You don't want anything sharp on the back of your wreath. Then you can finish doing your adjusting. Make sure that your leaves are where you want to. And if you need to use a little bit of hot glue to tack them down to get them to lay where you want them to, or to face the direction that you want them to, go right ahead. I'm going to finish tacking down my poinsettia picks with my floral wire. And now to go around and fill in a few spaces that I can still see the wreath form, I pulled out these 2 greenery. Both of these I got from Dollar Tree. This is snowy greenery. This has both the dark and the light. It kind of matches the one that's in there already. And then I really like this kind of gray eucalyptus. I like the little berries. So each of these I'm just going to cut into individual stems, and then we're going to be adding it to our wreath. Now that I have my pieces cut, I'm just slowly working my way around and adding some to the outside and to the inside, and wherever else I need to kind of fill in. Just dip into your glue skillet or add some hot glue and then slide right on into your wreath form. And here you go, we're all done. Isn't that gorgeous? I absolutely love the mix of the florals and the greenery. Now this is the sign that we're going to be using today. It's a nice large metal sign. It is 12 inches in diameter. It also has some depth to it. And it does come with a single hanger here on the back. Now I picked this up from Walmart. Here's a photo of the tag. I really like this. They did have several different ones. This was, I believe, the only metal sign, but they did have some wood signs that you could choose from as well. So I really liked the selection. This was right next to all the Grinch items, and if you missed it, I'll link my Grinch wreath at the end. So to get this ready to go onto our wreath, we need to add a few more attachments here so that we can attach it to our wreath. And when it comes to a metal sign, I like to use cable mounting pads. These are 1 by 1 inch. You can pick this up from pretty much any hardware place, and they're $3 to $4 for about 10. Now when you get these, they do have a sticky pad on the back. You are going to need to completely remove that. You peel off the paper and then remove the sticky part because that is not going to adhere and stay if this wreath goes outside. So I just use my paint scraper and scrape it off. So I get the majority of everything off, and then I'm going to use Fix-All and a little bit of hot glue to attach it to my metal sign. That's why I'm doing this first. I want to give this time to set up before I go to attach it to my wreath. So I'm just looking to get, north, south, east, and west attachments. That way I know my sign is not going to move once I get it onto my wreath. Now Fix-All usually takes a full 24 to 48 hours to fully cure, but this should be workable as long as I don't pull on it too much in about an hour or so. Once the glue cures, this guy will be all ready to be attached to our wreath. For this project, you're going to need an 18-inch wired wreath form. This one I picked up from Dollar Tree. The reason why I've chosen an 18-inch wreath form is because of the size of my sign. It is 12 inches in diameter. I want to make sure that my sign sits nicely in the center, and then I have a nice thick full wreath all the way around. And 8 packages of the dark green deco mesh that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree's mesh is 6 inches by 5 yards. This comes out of the floral garden section. This is what I consider Dollar Tree's better mesh. This is vacuum sealed. This mesh is much thicker and frays a lot less than their seasonal mesh. Since this wreath form has 8 sections, you are going to need 8 rolls. You want to cut your mesh into strips at 30 inches. Each roll should give you 6 strips. I prefer to use a rotary cutter, but if you don't have one, you can use a good sharp pair of scissors. Now to attach this to our wreath, you're going to be attaching 6 bundles in each section, and each section is between the 2 crossbars. You'll attach 3 to the inner bar and the center bar, and you'll attach 3 to the outer bar and the center bar. We'll be attaching our pipe cleaners to the wreath form first. I'm going to start here on the outside. So I'm wrapping around the 2 bars, pulling snug and giving a couple twists. We're going to be doing the cruffle method today. It's also called the woodland ruffle method. And I like this method because when you use it with Dollar Tree mesh, you can roll those ends nicely and you don't get much fraying. So start at one end. I usually like to do a good 4 rolls with the Dollar Tree mesh. Add a clip. Go to the other end and do the same thing. And then you want to scrunch right down the center all the way across till you get to the other side. So you have 2 curls and a ruffle in the middle. Place it in between the pipe cleaners. Pull it nice and snug. Give a couple twists. I usually leave about a 1/2 inch. Push those ends down. Then I kind of lift up and push over my bundle. And now the next one I'm going to place on the center bar and the inner bar. Just alternate back and forth until you get 6 bundles in each section. And as you're placing your bundles, you really want to place them sideways like this. If you place your bundles this way, you'll end up with a lot of mesh in the center, and around your wreath form, it won't be as thick. So make sure you put them in the right direction. And then I like to lift it up and move it over. Because that's what you want. You want it to be lifted up as it stacks next to it. You get a beautifully textured, thick base. I have my base complete and I'm very happy. It's nice and wide and very thick. And as you can see, you get little to no fraying. Very, very pretty, and I really like this dark green mesh. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. So the first thing I want to do is attach our sign. And I did go in and string through a pipe cleaner on each of the cable mounts that I added and the hanger that originally came. Now this is at the top and it's centered, so I want to make sure that I attach this one to a crossbar. So the top and the bottom will be attached to a crossbar. That way it's not going to slide or move, and I know that it'll be centered. So just find your crossbar and then take those pipe cleaners, separate your mesh, get down to your wire frame there at the crossbar, and attach it directly to the crossbar. My sign is on, it's nice and attached. I pulled a little bit of the mesh that was pushed down up. I didn't want to take all of it up, otherwise my sign sunk into the back. So I still have a little there. Now you can see how clean it looks in the back by the way I attached my pipe cleaners. Once I got my sign attached, make sure to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners. I pulled out 2 packages of these round ball ornaments. I picked them both up from Dollar Tree. This one you get 5, it's red, and I really like the swirl. I think that goes very well with the wreath. And then to kind of accent some other colors, the white and the silver, I like those. And then you're going to need some pipe cleaners. I chose to use green since my base is green. Let me get my packages open. So I'm making little bundles here of the round ornaments, and I'm using different sizes. These are the 2 packages that I showed you, and then I had several small ones left over and I decided to add a couple more to each. And where they go to hang them, you just want to string it onto a pipe cleaner. And mix up the sizes. It'll make it easier for you when you go to pull them all together. So on this one I have a small, medium, large, small, medium. And then when you kind of pull them together, push them up. I'm trying to get the smallest ones in the middle and the larger ones kind of around them. Pull it together and then give a twist. Now if they fall off like that, just add a little bit of hot glue and glue them back in, because you don't want them falling off when they're on the wreath. I'm going to make 5 bundles of round ornaments. Now I've pulled out 4 different ribbons for my bow. I pulled this one out simply because it reminds me of Jack Skellington. And this is 2.5 inches at 10 yards, black and silver stripe. And then I really liked this one as well. It kind of has a white background with silver in it. It's very pretty. My black and silver I picked up from papermart.com. This one from Costco. Then I also pulled out this beautiful red. It says ho ho ho. This one I also picked up from Costco. These 2 are, I believe, is it 1.5? Yes, these are both 1.5 inch at 50 yards. And then I have this nice big roll of red velvet ribbon. This I picked up at Michael's. And I'm going to be using my Easy Bow Maker. This really does help me because I do have arthritis in my hands. And especially when I'm making a really nice large bow, it's difficult for me to hold it. So this does a lot of the work for me. I'm going to start here with my red 2.5 inch ribbon. And I'm going to measure my tails at about 10 inches on the red ribbon here. I'm going to pinch and then twist. So here on your tails, the nice side of your ribbon should be facing up. But as you come through and go to make your loops, the nice side of your ribbon should be facing down. Okay, I'm going to measure my loops at 7, and I'm going to do 2 loops on either side at 7 inches. Now I'm going to move to my black and silver. On this one I'm going to measure my tails again at 12 inches. I want some really long tails. I can always cut them shorter once I get them onto my wreath. And on this one I'm going to make 2 loops on either side at about 6 inches. So it's a little smaller loops than the red. Now I'm going to move to my ho ho ho. On this one, I'm going to measure my tails at about 8 inches. On this one, I'm going to make 3 loops on either side at about 4 inches. And now to this really pretty silver and white. Measure my tail at 8 inches, pinch and twist. With this ribbon, I'm going to do 2 loops on either side at about 3 inches. Then I want to take my red ribbon here with my ho-ho-ho, and I want to measure out a piece at about 13 inches and cut. Okay, make a nice loop. That's going to be your center loop, so make it however large or small you'd like. Pinch. Then you're going to add that into the center. Take a full length pipe cleaner, put it down underneath all the ribbon, bring it right up next to your dowel rods. Just like to bring it together. Pinch it so everything is nice and snug in the stack. Then you can lift out, but you see you have all that ribbon. You need to make sure it stays fully stacked correctly. Push it down, grab those pipe cleaners, pull really tight, wrap it around to the back, and give a couple good twists to secure. Now those aren't going to be long enough to attach it to my wreath, so I'm going to add another one. Just lay it in the center, twist the other 2 a couple times, and then take the short side and wrap it around the long. Do that to both sides. Now you have plenty of pipe cleaner to get this attached to your wreath, and it's nice and secure. Okay, you can pull your tails down and open up all your loops. Now if you need to do any adjusting, just go right down to where it's tied in and do your adjusting there if you need to do any twisting or pulling or whatever. Open up and spread out each layer of your loops. like that mixture of ribbon. I think it's so pretty. That black and silver really sets everything off. Okay, so that's approximately what your bow should look like. I will do my final adjustment once I get it onto the wreath. So I'm going to get my bow attached before I put anything else on. And I want this up near the top, but I want it kind of off on the side. If I want to spread out my tails here and kind of pull some up and some down, I can do that. In fact, I think I like that, so that's what I'm going to do. And to attach it, you just use your pipe cleaners. Once you have your spot, just move all of that mesh to the side till you get down to the frame and attach it to the frame. Just make sure to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners once you have it in place. I have my bow on and I kind of pulled it out. I think I like my tails kind of going to the sides. Now I haven't cut my tails yet. I'm going to work on my placement here of my ball ornaments. And I have 5. So I'm going to work on evenly placing these around, and I'm just going to use my pipe cleaners here. Feed it through the deco mesh and attach it there to the wire frame in the back. Once you have it attached, make sure to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners. But I really like the little clusters. I think they look so pretty, especially when you do different size ornaments. I have all the clustered ball ornaments on, and I'm really happy with that. I think it looks absolutely adorable. Now the last thing I want to add are these really cute little icons from the movie, and I found these at Dollar Tree. So I found Santa Jack, I found regular Jack, Oogie Boogie, Sally, and their pet Zero. Now I'm going to attach each of these to the wreath, and I'm going to be doing it with a combination of Aleene's original tacky glue and hot glue. Hot glue will hold it until Aleene's can set up. Aleene's usually takes 24 hours to fully set up, but once it does, that makes it weather resistant. Even in the wind, cold, or rain, it's not going to fall off your wreath. And here you go. We are all done. I have all my little characters on, and I think they look absolutely adorable. I think they were the perfect final addition to this beautiful Jack Skellington Christmas wreath. For today's project, you're going to need one of Crafter Square wooden wreath bases. They are 12 inches in diameter. For this one, I'm going to give it a good coat of Cardinal Crimson. This is Apple Barrel's matte acrylic paint. I love this color. It is a really beautiful red for Christmas. For your convenience, in the description box below is a detailed list of all the tools and materials used to create today's project. The list will not only tell you what you need, it'll also give you how much and where I purchased the materials. Now while the ring is drying, I'm going to work on the picks here. Now I bought 2 of these picks. I did pick them up from Dollar Tree, and I've just kind of been playing with it, kind of bending it into an arc shape. And I really like it, especially I love the ornament with the red and white stripes. But there's not enough greenery there for me, so I pulled out a little bit more. I have these 2 pieces that I pulled off a larger branch, as well as these 2 pieces. And I'm going to take these 2 and I want to arc them in the same way. one thing I really like about working with faux florals and greenery is that they're wired and you can make them do whatever you want. Then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. This is like a pine and it has little bits of sparkles on there for snow. But I like it because it's not too bushy and it's a flat greenery. And pretty much everybody has pine in their area. So I want to put the two pine pieces in the back. I want it to help fill in. One piece I want a little lower. Then the other piece I want a little higher, like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is hot glue it to my stem. This is going to help hold it in place, and then we're going to wrap it with some floral tape. That'll make it nice and sturdy, and then you can adjust the pick however you want and not worry about it falling apart. So I have some floral tape. I picked this up from Dollar Tree. Now floral tape is pretty good. It likes to stick to itself, so you need to wrap it around a few times to get it anchored. Okay. So that piece is wrapped on nice and anchored. Now these little pieces I want to add to the top section and kind of work it around, and I'm going to put both pieces up here. I don't want my ball here to be up, kind of buried under the ribbon, so that's why I want to add a little bit of greenery up here so I can pull it down. I want to be able to see that. That's my favorite part. So now kind of feed that in and around my pieces, and I'm going to glue that to my base. Once you have it glued down, then go ahead and wrap that little bit of a stem there. And then I'm going to add the second one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to attach it a little bit higher, wrap it, and then I'm going to attach my second piece to the back. Then to secure the end, I always like to add a little dab of hot glue to make sure that doesn't come apart. Then you can work on your pick here, kind of pull your pieces forward, make sure everything's shaped and facing the way that you want it. I have both picks done. I've added the little bit of extra greenery and I've arced them in different directions. Now my base is nice and dry. Before I start to attach everything, I want to attach a hanger. So just take a nice piece of jute cord, fold it in half, and double knot it so you have a loop. Wrap it around, and then you're going to pull the loop through. Okay, that looks like that. And the ends are in the back. Then you can take those ends and you can glue them down to make sure that they don't move. Now we're going to attach our picks. I'm going to put one on either side. Just kind of lay it down, see how you like it. You need to leave a little bit of space in the center here because we are going to be adding a bow. But that's how you're basically going to be attaching it. So that's about a 2-inch opening, and I think that's good. So again, I'm going to start by gluing this down, and then I'm going to go back in with more floral tape and go over it to make sure that it is nice and secure. We're going to work on the bow now. I am in the middle of doing some maintenance on my Easy Bow Maker, so today I'm going to be using my bow dabber. You're going to need a full-length pipe cleaner, and with the bow dabber you can slide it right down the middle. This is the ribbon I've chosen to use today. It is 1.5 inches at 50 yards. I did pick this up from Costco. I think it's absolutely adorable. I love the bright red with the white ho ho ho. Perfect for Christmas. Now I put my bow dabber here on my small cutting mat so that I have a ruler. My Easy Bow Maker has a ruler right on it, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to be using my mat to help me measure. Now I'm going to measure out my tail here at 8 inches. I'm going to pinch and twist. Now you use this one the same way that you would use the Easy Bow Maker. Okay, now I'm going to measure, let's see, let's go with 3 loops on either side. And let's see, let's go 4 inches, 4.5 inches. I have my 3 loops on either side at 4.5 inches, and now I'm going to do 2 loops on either side at about 3.5 inches. Okay, now I have my 2 loops at 3.5 inches, and I want to do 1 more loop for the center. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Okay, then I'm going to measure out my tail at about 9 inches. And yes, I measured this one a little bit longer because I'm going to move it to the other side once I pull it out of the bow maker. So pull your pipe cleaner together, get that nice and snug and lift. Okay, and then before I tie it, I'm going to take that tail, pinch it, and push it over to the other side. So I have a little piece on this side. That way my tail is on the correct side and I have that extra loop for my center. Wrap your pipe cleaners all the way around to the back, get it nice and snug, and give a good twist or two. Okay, I always like to hold it right in the center as I work on my bow. And then just go through and open up all your loops. Pull your tails down. And fluff out your bow. If you need to do any adjusting, you want to go right down to where your loop is tied, and that's where you do your adjusting if you need to open it up or twist it around to get it to lay the way that you want. And that is approximately what your bow should look like. I'll do my final adjusting once I get it onto the wreath. I have my bow attached and I'm very happy. I fluffed it all out. I think it's gorgeous and it's really easy to attach. As you can see, I just wrapped my pipe cleaner around it. And you just want to trim. I usually leave about a ½ inch. Push that down and out of the way. And then just hit it with a little bit of hot glue. You don't want anything sharp. But I'm so pleased with the end result. A very quick and easy Christmas wreath. For today's project, we're going to be using an 18-inch wreath form. Now the reason why I've chosen the 18-inch wreath form is because of the size of the sign that we're going to be using today. Now if you see it, I place it against the 18-inch wreath form and I can still see the form all the way around. So once I add the deco mesh, I'm still going to have plenty of wreath all the way around once I place my sign. Now let me show you that in comparison to the 14-inch wreath form. Now this one looks much smaller. It's the 14-inch wreath form. Now see, if I put the sign over that, it completely covers from side to side. So for me, this sign is too big for this wreath form, but that's my personal opinion. You're also going to need 8 rolls of the dark emerald green mesh that you can pick up from Dollar Tree. This comes out of their everyday box and these are vacuum sealed. If you are going to use the 14-inch wreath form, you will need 6 rolls instead of 8. You're also going to need some pipe cleaners cut in half, and I've chosen to use green to match my base. Now I have 2 rolls of my mesh unwrapped. We're going to be using 2 rolls at a time. You can even use 3 rolls at a time with this method. Now normally you see the poof method done with either 10-inch or 21-inch mesh. This was my solution to using Dollar Tree's 6-inch mesh, was to use 2 at a time. So you want to take the ends and you want to scrunch them up. And it's better if they are side by side and not layered. Because if they're layered, when you go to open up your poofs after you attach them, it's going to be a lot harder for you to do so. If they're side by side, they come apart a lot easier. You just want to wrap a pipe cleaner around, get that nice and snug on the end. You don't want it to come loose. Okay, then we're going to attach it right here to one of the crossbars. Feed it from the front to the back. I give it a good twist or two. And then I pull those ends to the back and I pull them back through those pipe cleaners and twist them down again. I need to make sure that my end does not come loose while I'm working on it, and this way it's doubly tied down. And then if my pipe cleaners are too long, I just give a little trim, and then I push those forward. Okay, now my mesh is nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. And now we're going to be measuring our poofs today at 8 inches, and you want to start to measure here where you attached it. You measure out to 8 inches, you pull both of them together, pinch, and add a pipe cleaner. Get it nice and taut. Now what I find makes things go by a little bit faster is if I measure about 4 or 5 times and add a pipe cleaner and then go and attach it to my wreath form. And then all you do is you take your pipe cleaners, and we're going to be attaching it to the center bar. Now if you're working on a wreath form that has 4 bars, you'll have 2 in the center. You want to attach it to the 2 bars in the center. But because this only has 3, I'm only going to be attaching it here to the center bar. So just put your pipe cleaner on either side. Give a couple good twists. When I attach it to a single bar, I always trim my pipe cleaners down a little bit more. You could always cut your pipe cleaners into thirds when you're attaching it to a single bar instead of in half. It just makes it easier for me to work with the mesh and the ties if I use them at half. The shorter they are, the harder they are for me to work with, and I like to give my hands as much of a break in crafting as I can because I have arthritis. So you just attach it and then push over. Now you'll be putting about 9 to 10 poofs in each section, and 2 rolls of mesh should cover 2 sections on your wreath. And on the 18-inch wreath form, it has 8 sections. And as you can see, it's getting nice and full. And then once I do a section, then I go back and I just separate my poofs. You just want to go in and just pull the 2 apart. Every time you do a poof, you're actually doing 2, so you might as well get the full benefit by pulling them apart. You don't have to fully open them up, but you do want to separate the 2. It'll just make your base that much thicker and fuller. Okay. I'm going to work on my base. I'll get a couple sections done, and then I'll come back and let you see what it's looking like. Now I have the first 2 rolls on, and it did cover 2 full sections. I was able to get a full 10 poofs per section. In fact, on the last one, I think I might have gotten an extra poof. I did go through and just separate my poofs. I didn't really work on opening them up. I just kind of pulled them apart. But as you can see, with just those 2 rolls, you get a nice thick base. If you want an even thicker or denser base, you can use 3 rolls at a time. I'm going to finish my base, and then I'll be back and we'll move forward and decorate. I have my base complete, and look at how thick and beautiful that looks. And with the poof method, you get little to no fraying, even with Dollar Tree Deco Mesh. I absolutely love this method. It's so quick and easy and gives you a beautiful base to work on. We are going to work on our bow now. I have 2 full-length pipe cleaners, my Easy Bow Maker. Now I pulled out 3 different ribbon to work with on our bow today. The first one is this one, and it's 2.5 inches at 50 yards. I did pick this up from Kirkland, and I love that neutral background, and I love that shiny red deer with the little snowflakes like in the background. Then to accent that, I have a 2-inch black and red buffalo check. This one I got from Walmart. And then this one I also got from Walmart. It kind of ties the two together. You have reindeer on there, even a little moose. Those are done in the red and black buffalo check on a neutral background. So I think the 3 of these will look really cute and be really pretty to accent our wreath today. So I am going to start here with my 2.5-inch ribbon. And I'm not sure if I'm going to want long tails or not, so I'm going to give myself some long tails. I can always trim them shorter. I'm going to go about 10 inches here. Pinch and twist, and then come down through the 2 large dowel rods. Now on your tails, the nice side of your ribbon should be facing up. And as you come through to make your loops for your bow, the nice side should be facing down. And on this ribbon, I'm going to measure my loops at 5 inches, and I'm going to do 3 loops on each side at 5 inches. And now I'm going to move to my buffalo check. I'm going to measure my tails on this at 8 inches, pinch and twist. And on this ribbon, I'm going to measure my loops at 4 inches, and I'm going to do 2 loops on either side. And now I'm going to move on to my buffalo check reindeer ribbon here. And on this one, I'm also going to measure my tails at 8 inches. I'm going to pinch and twist. And with this ribbon, I'm going to measure my loops at 3 inches. And I'm going to do 2 on either side at 3 inches. Okay, now I have my 2 loops on either side at 3 inches. I'm going to add 1 more loop because I want like a center loop. And I'm going to measure it again at 3 inches. And then to get back to the other side, I'm going to come through the small dowel rod and the large dowel rod. That helps me keep that piece that I need on this side for my center loop. And then I can measure out my tails at 8 inches and cut. Now I do like the fact that you can play with your bow while it's in the bow maker before you tie it down. Make sure that everything is looking the way that you want. If you need to do some adjusting, you can do it while it's here. Just be careful not to pull too hard. Take a full length pipe cleaner, lift up your ribbon on one side and slide it down until you get right next to the dowel rods. Lift up. I always pinch together, kind of push down my bow. You want to keep that nice and snug as you lift out because you need to keep it stacked properly. Check the front, make sure that little piece is on the side. So now my pipe cleaners are not long enough for me to get my bow onto my wreath, so I'm going to add another one, and I just lay that in the middle. Take the shorter, give a twist or two, and then you take one of the shorter and you just wrap it around one of the longer, and you do the same thing to the other side. This will fully secure your second pipe cleaner and give you plenty of pipe cleaner to get that attached to your wreath. And then when I fluff out my bow, I like to hold it right in the middle, so I will usually lift up my center loop there, put my thumb in, hold nice and strong, and then I can easily pull down my tails and open up my loops and fan them out. If you need to do any adjusting on your loops because they're not laying the way that you want, you need to go right down to where they're tied and open up and twist there to get them to lay the way that you want. Okay, so this is approximately what your bow should look like. I'll do my final adjusting and trim my tails once I get my bow onto my wreath. Now this is the sign we're using on our wreath today, Happy Holidays. I think it's really cute. I was just in Dollar Tree last week. They had another sign that was very similar, but it just says Happy Holidays. It has the same kind of Santa, a few different types of presents, but it was very similar. So if you can't find this one, you can also look for that one. They have, I think, 4 or 5 different designs that are this size and have that faux wood background. So choose whatever you can find in your store and the one that you like. To set this up to go onto our wreath, I removed the ribbon hanger here at the top, and I've taken some silver floral wire that I pick up at Dollar Tree, and I ran that through the hole and over the top and twisted in the back. So I'm going to use this here at the top to wire it onto my wreath. Now I don't like my signs to move once I get them on, so I usually attach additional pipe cleaners here on the bottom, and I attach them with some hot glue. So to make sure they're nice and sturdy, I like to put a piece of ribbon over the top. That just gives them extra security so they're not going to come off. If this wreath goes outside and it gets weather too hot or too cold, hot glue can fail. So that's why I have the floral wire. My sign's not going to fall off my wreath regardless of how hot or cold it's going to get outside. So this is all ready now to go onto the wreath. Now I like my signs to sit right up on top of my mesh, and for this one I'm going to bring him down so that the base of his sign here is right at the bottom of the opening. I need a little extra space at the top for my bow because it's nice and big. So I'm going to have my bow and then the tails are going to be spread out, so that's going to take care of the whole top section. Now to get my sign attached, You just want to take your pipe cleaners and your floral wire. You separate your mesh until you can get down to that wire frame, and you attach it to the wire frame. You can attach your sign anywhere on that wire frame that you need to get it to sit properly on your wreath. When you're done attaching, just make sure to trim and tuck your pipe cleaners and floral wire so you don't have anything sharp on the back of your wreath. My sign is on. It is nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. And I made sure to trim and tuck all of my ends so that there's nothing sharp on the back. And now I want to add my bow. And I want to add it right in the center at the very top. And I'm going to do the same thing. You just take those pipe cleaners, you feed it through the deco mesh until you can get to your wire frame, and you attach it to the wire frame in the back. I have my bow on, and I did trim my tails. I did have one piece left of my black and red, so I added another set of really long tails in the back. I trimmed them and gave all of my ends some dovetail, and I really like it. I love how it just spreads across the top and fills that in. I love the sign. It looks so cute. Now I want to add some other elements around the wreath. This guy's going to be nice and full, and that's why I went with just a solid neutral base. Now I found these really cute Christmas picks at Dollar Tree this year. I do have 3 of them for this wreath. And I love that they're on wire because it makes it really easy for you to bend them. Now I'm going to place one here on the side, one down here at the bottom, and then one on the other side. And to get these in, I'm just going to take this really long stem, and then I'm just going to feed it down through the deco mesh. Till I get it down to where I want it. And then you just kind of need to adjust your deco mesh around it a little bit to help kind of hide that main stem. And then you can bend your little baubles however you like. And then here on the back, I'm going to take that stem and I'm going to wire it down. You can also use zip ties, or you can use pipe cleaner. Either. You just want to attach that long wire down. Once you've got that attached and it's nice and secure, then you can just bend it and shape your little baubles however you like, and that baby is not going to go anywhere. So I'm just going to, I cut a piece of pipe cleaner here, and I'm just going to wrap it around and attach it to the center bar. If you're using pipe cleaners or floral wire, you want to make sure to tuck those ends. Okay, and I'm going to do it in 2 places. I want to make sure this stays nice and secure. I have my 3 picks in, and I've adjusted them, and I'm happy with how they're looking. I have them coming up, out, away from the mesh, and I like that. Now I grabbed a package of bells, these little silver bells. I love it when a wreath that's on a front door has bells on it, especially at Christmas time, because it rings every time you open and close the front door. So we're going to be adding those. And to add these, you just need a pipe cleaner. And right here where you would hook it, you string your pipe cleaner through. Just pull it down to the center and then pinch and give it a couple twists. And then it's ready to go onto your wreath. You just feed the pipe cleaners through and attach it to the wire frame in the back. And then I also pulled these out, and I really like these. They're white. They do have a little bit of a ribbed pattern on there. And I picked these up in a multi-pack. It came with the soft pink or rose gold, and you get 12 pieces in a package. So I'm just going to be using the white, and there are 6. So I have 6 white bulbs and 6 bells, and I'm going to be attaching the balls the same way. Where you hang it, you just want to run a pipe cleaner through. And you need to test these ornaments that you get from Dollar Tree. Sometimes, yep, see that one, it's just going to pop off. If they're loose like that, just add a little bit of hot glue and put it back on and let it set up before you attach it to your wreath. You don't want those coming off once you get it onto your wreath form. Then just give a couple twists, and again, use the pipe cleaners to attach it to your wreath. Now when you go to attach your ornaments and your bells, remember you have 6 of each, and that's plenty to work your way around your wreath. You want to place some towards the center, some in the middle, and some near the outside of your wreath. That way, regardless of what direction they see your wreath, they're going to see something beautiful. And all you need to do is take the pipe cleaners and feed it down through the mesh when you find your positioning and attach it to the wreath form. Just make sure to trim and tuck those pipe cleaners. I have all my white Christmas ornaments and my bells in. I love that sound. I'm very happy with it so far, but I am not done yet. Now I have a stem of these small red poinsettias. And I also have a stem of the regular holly with the dark green leaves and those bright red berries. And I have cut each one into individual stems, and I've left them about 3 inches long so that it'll be easy to glue them in. Now the first thing you want to do is work with your placement. Go through and place it throughout the wreath. And I'm just going to alternate between the poinsettia and the holly as I move my way around the wreath. And then to glue these in, you just want to make sure that you get a good amount of hot glue on your stem. And then you nestle it right into the deco mesh. You want to make sure it gets good contact with the deco mesh so you don't have any issues of it coming out. And here you go. I have all of my florals glued in, and I'm really pleased with the end result. As you can see, I just kind of alternated between the poinsettias and the holly. Very, very pretty. And I love that dark green background is peeking through. It gives that extra burst of color right where you need it. For today's project, you're going to need a 14-inch wire wreath form. This happens to be silver, but you can use whatever color you have. You're also going to need a package of pipe cleaners cut in half, and a good selection of ribbon. Now I picked this ribbon up. I got 6 rolls of the black and red check with a silver design on it. Each design on the roll is different. And these are 2.5 inches at 10 yards per roll. I happened to pick this up at falling prices, and I got all of them for $4. So this is a really good deal. Another way to go with this ribbon is to pick up a roll from Costco. You can get 50 yards of 2.5 inch ribbon for, I believe it was $7.99 a roll plus tax. So I have 5 of the 6 rolls. This one, each of them has a different beautiful silver pattern on it. I like this one with the polka dots. You want to cut your ribbon into strips at 8 inches, and you will need 24 pieces of each ribbon. I have my ribbon cut at 8 inches. And my pipe cleaners are cut in half. I'm going to be using my bow dabra. My hands are bothering me today with arthritis, and I can't really hold on to much. And now each bundle is going to have one of each of the ribbons, but as you put them in, you want to just kind of mix them up so that no two are the same. And I just find the center and pinch. You can either hold it in your hand, use a clip or a bow maker. Just do that to each piece. And then as I add it, I kind of try to make room for each of them. But I actually like this ribbon. It's a little much just for one project, but to pull it all together like this, I think is going to be really pretty on the finished product. Get a good pinch, wrap your pipe cleaner on there. I always like to pull everything down so I can get a good grip. Pinch right at the base and twist. And then before I attach it to my wreath form, I like to do a little bit of adjusting. Make sure that the side that has the glitter is facing up. I like to lift them up and then kind of bend the ends so that they are folded outward. I can do my final adjusting once I get it in or on the wreath. But I just want to make sure everything's facing the way it is. It's easier to do some major adjusting when it's here in my hand. Okay, so that's what your bundle will look like. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Now how we're going to be attaching our bundles is you want to place one on each of the crossbars on the two bars on the outside, and then you also want to place one in the center. And then on the two bars on the inside, you're going to place one in between each of those bundles. So here you can see I have one on this crossbar, one on this crossbar, and one in the center. And then I have one bundle on the two bars on the inner side in between. You're going to do that to each section. So here I'm working on my second section. I have one on the crossbar, I have one in the center. So this one I'm going to place on my crossbar. And the reason why I like to attach them directly to the crossbar is that way I know those are not going to move on me. It helps to keep everything in place so that you do not see your wreath form underneath your ribbon. And then I always like to push my pipe cleaners forward. Keeps the back looking nice and clean. Okay, so I have the three on the outside. Now I need to put two on the inside, and it'll be nice and full like this side is. You want to do that to each section. And it should take you a total of 50 yards of ribbon. If you're using Dollar Tree ribbon, that would be 10 rolls of ribbon. I have my base complete and I'm very happy. Nice and thick and full. It's so pretty. Very, very nice. Now, of course, you can leave it this way, but there is one more thing that I would like to add. And that is one of these silver reindeer that you can pick up at Dollar Tree. Now, they've carried these for many, many years. You can get them in silver, gold, and red. I have attached a couple pipe cleaners here on the back so I can attach it to my wreath. You just want to lay it on there, figure out your placement, and see where you need to attach. So I have one here at the back of the legs, one here at the front of the legs, and one up here at the head. Now to get this attached, you just feed your pipe cleaners through your ribbon and attach it to the wire frame in the back. I have my sign attached and it's not going to go anywhere, and I attached it very loosely, just enough so that it would sit right up on top of all my ribbon. Oh, I'm so happy with the end result. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. And this wreath is so large and fluffy. What a beautiful way to welcome your guests this holiday season. And there you go. What a great video. So many wonderful Christmas wreaths to choose from. Let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. Thanks so much for stopping by. If you're looking for more Christmas inspiration, you can click into my playlist right here. Have a great day, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.